Okay, so Phuntsok has been doing this for years and years and years with the help of his friends and fellow practitioners. And tonight's topic is realms of existence. Buddhism gives special attention to the dying process in the Bardo. They are pivotal aspects of reincarnation and karma, setting the stage for the form in which our subsequent expression of the universe takes place. Having a skillful, direct, and clear relationship with death deeply impacts our relationship to life. Not because death is part of life, but because death is life, and life is death. Both are existence. That is to say, Buddhism gives special attention to death because it places great value on the experience of life. Mary Oliver asks, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" In her words, the great sages resound, and the heart of Buddhism is given shape. Yes, it is a question, but it is also a teaching. This is indeed a wild and precious life. In fact, Buddhism holds that we as human beings reside in the most optimal epistemological location to achieve the most optimal mundane and transcendent sensibilities. A mundane divinity for which there is no better fulcrum to enlightenment in all the realms of existence. Our home, the human realm, rests precariously between the realms of hell, hungry ghosts, animals, demigods, and gods. Like a candle in the midnight forest, or the perfect warmth of a midweek bowl of winter porridge, the human realm enshrines a path just north of overwhelm and south of intoxication. It balances perfectly at the precipice of the gateless gate. One step closer, we'd be in. One step further, we'd be out. Join us for a discussion on the Buddhism realms of existence. What are they? Why are they important? How can our awareness of them bring about the greatest benefit for all beings in all directions?
All
And
right,
with that,
thank you very
I pass
much.
it to Punsak.
All right. So we're going to do the for our format: meditate, talk, and then get a chance to share and end with another meditation. You probably noticed that my meditations are becoming less and less, uh, I guess, more and more simple and less complicated. Uh, Maybe I'm just becoming lazy. All right, so let's meditate. Bring to conscious awareness that you're about to enter a meditation. And while you hold this in your mind, allow the different dimensions of you to respond to this intention. Feel the physical body responding. Be aware of the energetic body responding. Be sensitive to how the mind, the emotions, and all the different levels of your being are responding to this intention to enter meditation. At the conscious level, we may not fully understand what is meditation, but there is something from deep within calling us to enter that state. That part of us, those parts of us, they know what meditation is. So allow them to guide you. Allow that intelligence that is within the physical body to guide you. Bring awareness to the physical body. Allow it to guide you. How should you have your legs? so they can be comfortable and stable? How should you have your torso so they can give you a sense of alertness as well as ease and comfort? Shoulders and arms to give you evenness, the head and neck to give you a sense of being centered, mouth, teeth, tongue, reminding you to stay in your natural state, while your eyes constantly reminding you to rest, to rest. Allow the muscles of the face to relax, the muscles in the forehead to relax. Allow that natural state to emerge, to be more evident. And once you feel comfort and once you feel confident in the posture, then gently bring your attention to the breath. As you breathe in, you simply know you are breathing in. As you breathe out, you simply know you are breathing out. And by this simple way of paying attention to the breath, you become aware of aspects of the breath that were not so evident before, but always existed. They were always there, but our consciousness is beginning to be more refined just by staying with what is. And eventually you notice a slight shift in how the breath is behaving. Once you notice that, take that as an indication that you are aligned and ready to enter meditation. The different dimensions of you have reached a certain degree of alignment, and what it needs is a complete commitment from your side so that the alignment will be complete. So gently, fully breathe in as deeply as you can, as comfortably as you can through the nose. Hold the breath for a few seconds, getting ready to completely release and let go of the breath. And as you let go of the breath, notice yourself relaxing in the body, notice yourself relaxing in the mind, letting go, allowing the gentle calm to enhance in the body, to enhance in the breath and the mind. Leave the breath alone, but stay in that calm that the breath took you. Stay in that pleasantness that the breath took you. Stay in that clarity that the breath took you. Stay in that vividness of now that the breath took you, whatever the degree, whatever the measure, and rejoice. Rejoice knowing that by simply allowing, by simply relaxing, we are allowing our natural state to be more evident to us. Not that our natural state will emerge, it is already there, we are simply not aware of it. And to help stabilize what is naturally occurring, again, gently, fully take another deep breath in through the nose, breathe in. And while you hold the breath, feel readiness to go even deeper into this very experience. And let go again. And as you let go, allow yourself to go deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness in the body, in the breath, in the mind, energetically, emotionally. And at the end of the exhalation, just stay where you reach, but leave the breath alone again. Let the breath return to its own rhythm, but staying aware of the new calm, the new pleasantness. And remind yourself that this calm, this pleasantness is a herald telling you that you are indeed approaching natural state, which is the mind's natural state of peace, bliss, limitlessness. And for the third time, gently, fully, again, staying aware of the calm and the rest, breathe in. Hold the breath, staying aware, staying in the space of that new calm and being ready to go even deeper. Release. And as you release, you'll notice yourself going deeper, palpably into the calm in the body, palpably deeper into the calm in the breath. And at the end of the exhalation, again, stay, become acquainted with the new calm, the new pleasantness. Notice how become aware, become sensitive to the degree to which your awareness is a bit more refined, how things that you are aware of appear a bit clearer, a bit stronger, a bit more present. You're not aware of things, you're not aware that you are aware of things after a period of time has gone, but you're closer and closer to when they are actually happening. And there's a vividness that is enhancing about these experiences. And bring to mind your intention, your motivation for what is it about this topic that may be of interest to you, and what is it about this topic that can be of practical, immediate application for you in your life as it is. In what way can you understand it and then immediately apply that understanding? And as you direct your attention towards this motivation, bring attention to a point along the alignment, wherever, whatever point draws your attention, that gives you a sense of being at home, being nurtured. It could be the crown of your head, it could be your forehead, it could be your throat, your heart, your navel, wherever you feel is drawing you and is giving you a sense of home, a sense of wholeness. And from that place, as you hold your motivation, begin to feel the natural feel, the feel out of which everything, the feel of truth, the reason for everything beginning to stir. And as it stirs, a bright presence emerges from it. The bright presence remains full awareness that it is but an emergence, and it maintains full awareness where it came from, what it is made out of. And it is a presence appearing merely to guide you, to protect you on your journey. So whatever form it takes for you, whether it takes the form of someone who is very familiar, a family member, a friend, whether it takes the form of some historical figure that you feel drawn to, that you feel represents something very reverential for you, meaningful for you. Or it could be some fantastic being, Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, whoever. And to strengthen that sense of relating, acceptance, express reverence, express gratitude, express trust. And as you express these sentiments, allow yourself to relax, going deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into clarity, deeper into joy, and feel attention collecting itself, withdrawing itself from the need to attend to things outside of its immediate experience. And that bright presence shines a light on you. And as it shines this light on you, think of the things that you know of that you're holding on to, that you no longer need to hold on to. They're no longer serving you. And find the courage, find the clarity, beg for the courage if you don't have it, beg for the clarity if you don't have it, to let them go. Be grateful to them and let them go. The pain that you experience, the suffering you're experiencing, is that you're holding on to something that you no longer need to hold on to. So stay with that attitude, let go, let go, let them go. And if your imagination gives them form, see the forms that they have taken, slowly returning back into pure truth. See them turn into light, and the light disappears. And since this is a new year, we're looking forward. We're leaving behind what we took on but are no longer serving us. And we want to move forward. Whatever it is that we need to be enhanced, may they be enhanced. Whatever it is that we need that we are not at the present having made connections with, may we make connections with them. And see that happening as rays of light, again, showering you. I need courage. See courage appearing as light and feel yourself being filled with the courage. You need clarity. See light, clarity taking the form of light, and the light filling you and feeling yourself being filled with clarity. Whatever it is that you need, it takes the form of light, it fills you, and it becomes what you need. We are returning to the reservoir of existence. The forms that we no longer need. Let them return to just pure potential to be whatever. And whatever we need, let them emerge from that reservoir of potential, taking the form of light and taking the forms of whatever it is that we need. And again, with the intention, with holding the motivation, and be ready to come out of the meditation, feeling ready, having called that part of you that understands, that part of you that can validate truth for you, to accompany you, to listen with you. Feeling ready, take a nice deep breath and release. And as you release, allow yourself to reconnect with your immediate surroundings, deliberately, consciously be aware of your surroundings through the sense of touch, noticing the temperatures, the feel of your clothing, the different sounds, and deliberately allow your eyes to take in, this is sound, this is light, this is shadow, this is shape, this is color. All right. All right. I don't know if you hear my background. Oh, good, because you don't want to hear the background. Okay. All right. Now, before I go into the realms of existence, this is a topic that is both fascinating for some Buddhists and also at the same time extremely boring for some other Buddhists. And I'm going to be very Buddhist about it and I'll take the middle path. But what I want you to get from this is definitely this is what I do not want you to take from this. I don't want you to take this presentation of what I refer to as the realms of existence in in Buddhism as simply in order for you to have some way of accepting it, or there's just psychological states. And if you're indeed taking them on as if the way for you to accept them is if you say, oh, they are just describing psychological states, that's all. Ask yourself, why is it that that's how you should accept them? Why is it that if that is what they are, then you will accept them? Ask yourself that question. Not that they have nothing to do, they're not in some dimension, in some way describing psychological states, but don't think that that's all that they are describing. Okay. The thing to understand, I have a cat, and it's wants to get my attention. Okay, all right. Should I say a cat has me? All right. So yeah, and also if be aware of your mind that if indeed that you are willing to accept them as pure psychological states, and if somehow they are being presented to you as some sort of reality that we can experience in the same way that we experience our physical reality, and then you find yourself hesitating to accept that. Again, ask yourself, why? Why are you hesitating to accept them as realities just like our physical reality? We accept our physical reality. We don't say that our physical reality is only a psychological state. We experience psychological states within this, and our physical reality is a dimension of our reality, is a dimension of our experience. So uh, be be aware of those, that where you might go into the fascination. You're fascinated by this topic and also very bored by this topic. What is it about them that is boring, that is making them, uh, I don't think this is acceptable. Okay. All right. So saying that in a way is making an excuse and protecting the teaching just in case you want to criticize it. Okay. All right. And before I'll go into that, let's begin with what we all accept. We all accept that uh, there, there are different species of beings living with us, at least on the planet Earth. We don't know about outside of the planet Earth, but at least what we have directly experienced, we have directly experienced different species of beings. Okay, flies, rodents, pets, cats, dogs, elephants. These we accept. Fish in the ocean, and to a certain extension, some say, okay, you have to include vegetation, plants, mushroom world, and these are the ones that we can sort of like point to each other and say, oh, there's a cat over there. There's a there's a plant over there. And then we feel a sense that it is taking care of itself. It is feeding itself. It is exercising itself. It is taking care of itself apart from you taking care of yourself. And when we look at the way they exist, we can sort of speculate what goes on with them, right? Generally speaking, the animal, the ones that we can immediately experience is the animal realm. And it's called the animal realm. And what characterizes what we say in a general sense, and all these are generalizations, okay? They're not universal. They're generalizations. Generally speaking, what the general characteristic of the animal realm is that they are completely subject to instinct, and they're not able to make certain, what you might call certain intellectual or reasoning decisions. Not that animals don't reason. It's not that animals don't make any kind of decision, but generally speaking, animals are driven by the need for food and the need to reproduce themselves. Okay, that is the generally speaking what animals are driven by, right? How do you help a dog learn a trick? With you present food as a reward, right? And I've noticed my cat. I don't see my cat going, desperate, asking me to create a profile on Tinder. It seems to be perfectly okay, because as far as the cat is concerned, its universe is that's it. That's its universe. He goes to a certain place in the apartment, food is there. He goes to a certain place of the apartment, then he can relieve himself. Okay. And that's it. And then he gets to roam around in the different places of the apartment, like jumping on my dresser, knocking things down. That's how it's fun for it. All right. But so the food thing is there. When the bowl is empty, yeah, he comes and let me know that the bowl is empty. And I'm not sure if that is because if it's a playful thing with with my cat, that when I'm walking from one part of the apartment to the other, he runs ahead of me, goes towards his bowl, and is looking at me as if to say, "This is mine, okay? I know what's in your mind. This is mine." No matter how many times I've told him, it's yours, don't worry about it. But still, whenever I start walking, goes and covers his bowl. Okay. All right. So I'm pointing to the instinct, the drive for food. Okay. And the other drive, the drive for reproduction, I don't quite see that. Yeah, so far hasn't asked me to be to create an account on Tinder and any of those dating sites. So, but you will notice that as soon as a member of the same species is introduced, then all of a sudden that part of them gets awakened. It's as if that part is dormant until it is something happens. Okay, with human beings, it's different. We need Tinder. if we don't wait for someone to appear and then remind us, oh, reproduction. Okay, that's in our mind. That's with us, and we are driven by that to some degree. And we have a certain degree of, we can exercise a certain degree of control over that, and also we can decide. Like I was an omnivore with my parents until I decided to become a vegetarian. Then I decided to become a vegan. Then I decided to become a fruitarian. And then I decided to heck with all that. I'm what you call that thing? Whatever is presented. That's the one that I've become now. So to some degree, we can have certain control over that. Now, what distinguishes, according to Buddhism, the generally speaking, the animal realm and the human realm is that as far as the spiritual path is concerned, it's not that, I mean, I've seen some very spiritual animals, okay? I've seen some, but that doesn't mean that every single animal is spiritual. And there are some people who are animal lovers. I'm not saying that in a bad way, okay? I'm saying that as a compliment, okay? There are people who are animal lovers, and they are animal lovers and in the way that they say animals are more spiritual than humans. Buddhists say, sorry, no. There are how many human beings have pets? How many human beings are good pet owners? And the vast majority of animals are out there in the wild, scared of being eaten, scared of starving. That's the general life of an animal. Okay, so let us not romanticize their lives, their existence. Okay, if you don't fully understand, if you don't want to fully accept until you interviewed every single animal that exists for you to draw some sort of conclusion about what their lives is about, then just say, I don't know. But don't romanticize and say animals are the spiritual beings, humans are not, because you've witnessed some human beings doing some very awful things. Okay. All right. So that generalizes the animal. So, in psychologically speaking, we can say sometimes we say someone is animalistic in their behavior, that they're driven by their actions are driven by their baser instincts. Like when someone uh, is driven to relate with other human beings, driven to relate with other life forms from the place from greed, from just taking care of themselves. When they harm others in a very brutal way, we say they're being animalistic. Or a poor cow. The cow is considered to be the prime example of stupidity. I don't know why, but I think that's just general Indian sort of culture, where for some reason they take the cow to represent stupidity. And sometimes the pig also represents stupidity, but the cow represents stupidity. So some people, it seems like there are exceptions. There are some people who are not spiritual, who are not interested, and there are some people who are just driven by base instincts. So you could say psychologically, in a certain way, they are they are animals in a sense. Okay, not to insult them, but looking at what is it that they're driven by. The the universe of Buddhism is divided into two: samsara and nirvana. So these are the two main divisions of existence: those who are free and those who are not yet freed. Okay, samsara and nirvana. And those who are freed, they also have their divisions. And those who are in samsara, this is what we refer to as the realms of existence. Buddhism divide that into three realms, and this is where it gets confusing. So three realms. The three realms are what they say the form realm, the formless realm, and our realm is called the desire realm. The realm where humans live, the realm where animals live, the realm where the things that the beings where we have immediate, where we are able to immediately communicate with. This is called the desire realm. And some of the things I was talking about with the animal realm, the desire, what the general characteristic of the desire realm, the reason that it's called desire realm is that the beings in it are driven by desire. They're driven by desire. They're driven by the need to fulfill their desires. Okay. Now, the desire realm is, each of these are further divided into the different, again, realms is going to be used. I don't know, perhaps we can come up with a better vocabulary term. So we have the three realms. I don't know, the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. And each of these are further divided into the different types of beings who dwell in those realms. Those realms or dimensions, we can use a different term. So within the desire realm, you have almost all the realms are represented. All the different types of beings are represented, are found in the desire realm. Starting from the place of starting with human beings, I'll start with human beings. The human beings are said to be right in the middle. In the middle of what? Remember, all this is describing what is referred to as samsara, the realm where beings are not yet freed. Okay? All this is samsara. Samsara is divided into three realms: the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. And each of these are further divided. The human beings are found in the desire realm. Along with human beings in the desire realm are also animals, my cat, the dogs, the wild animals that we see in the ocean, the animals on different places. And these are the ones that we have a direct experience of. The others, not everyone has direct experience of them. And I say not everyone, that means it implies that there are some who actually have direct experience of them. I know some friends of mine who wish they didn't have that capacity to have direct experience of them. And there are some who wish they could have the capacity to have direct experience with them. Okay. They are referred to as, and this is where watch your tendency to see if the way for you to accept it is psychological, or if you can accept it as a reality, just like our reality. Okay. Below the human realm is the animal realm, and below in a sense of the degree to which they experience suffering, generally speaking. I mean, there are some pets, I wish I had their lives. Okay. But it doesn't mean that every single pet has that life. Okay. So generally speaking, animals suffer. Their existence is filled with more suffering than human beings. Okay. Remember, generally speaking, animals are fearing for their lives. Fearing for, am I going to eat today? Okay. Am I going to get killed today? Right. And below the animals, and that includes, the insects, the fish, and all that. All that's in the animal realm. Below the animal realm is a realm that they call hungry ghosts, pretas. And pretas are beings who are driven by extreme thirst, extreme hunger, and they're incapable of being satiated, generally speaking. And they're usually described as looking like people who have what's that disease called? Kwachoko. Do you know that? Kwachoko? Yeah. Yeah. Some of you probably never heard of that before. Kwachoko. It's a condition that the body develops when it's extremely malnourished, where the belly, the limbs are very skinny, very slim, very skinny, and the belly is very bloated. Okay, so they say that hungry ghosts look like that, and there are priests I heard who said that they see those kinds of beings. And you can use your Western psychology and say, oh, it's because they were raised in a culture where these things are accepted to exist, that so they imagine they see these things. And okay, I'll give my personal thing at the end, of course. Okay, so these are the pretas. They are driven by extreme thirst, extreme hunger. And we can sort of understand psychologically, we can see that there are people who are like that, whose lives are driven by extreme hunger. The people who are driven by greed. That's all that's in their mind. That's all that, as far as their existence is concerned, that's all they're concerned about. Trying to satisfy their greed. And then they're insatiable. They can never reach a point where they feel satisfied. They feel satiated. Okay. So and then, of course, each of these realms have their further divisions, right? There are different kinds of pretas, there are different kinds of animals, there are different kinds of human beings, okay? Within Buddhism, what they refer to as different kinds of human beings, they don't mean the way we modern people classify human beings as different human beings. They classify them as they are humans who live in different dimensions with us. And they say we are told that they live on different continents. And these continents are not the continents that you and I know about, that we can fly to. Okay. There are human beings who live what is referred to as the northern continent. We human, all of us, live in what is referred to as the southern continent. And it's not the actual physical continent, it's not the actual some sort of northern continent. That's not what they're referring to. Because the people on the northern continent have a particular, their lifespans are fixed, for example. Do you know a continent where everybody dies at the same age? So they're not talking about that, okay? So, and exactly what does that mean? When I tell the truth, when I was reading this stuff, when I was studying it, you could say I took it with a pound of salt. Not just a grain of salt. I needed a pound to be able to take that. So I didn't completely dismiss it, because I can't say that I have proven that there are no such thing as other dimensions. I've not done all the things that needs to be done so that you can say, okay, therefore there are no other dimensions. And also at the same time, I cannot prove them to myself also at the same time. So they're just on the shelf, you could say. So when you're being presented with something that you cannot prove or disprove, because we do not yet have the capacity, then we just put it on the shelf, just put it on the side. And then later on, we may encounter what we need to disprove it, or we encounter what we need to prove it. But this is what is being presented, okay? And below the pretas is what they refer to as the hell. And this is the thing that we do not want to, we wish doesn't exist in any way whatsoever. This is the thing that it's when it comes, probably when it comes to the hell and descriptions of what we refer to as hell realm, that's when we probably really have the most reaction in terms of, okay, this is the thing. This is definitely, if I have to accept this, it has to be just psychological. Oh yeah, there are certain times you are suffering so much that every moment seems like a million years. So when they talk about the time in the hell realm being stretched, that's what they're referring to. They're referring to a psychological experience of time. Okay. So, and then there are different kinds of hells. Okay. And I'm not going to go into describing all of them. But if you're interested, there are plenty of books available that describes them. Well, I'm not, The Realms of Existence, I think that's the title of one. And the Theravadins have very beautiful presentations of the different realms. Okay. All right. So the hell realm is generally divided into hot and cold. Okay. Where you're experiencing suffering of extreme cold or experiencing suffering of extreme heat. And there are some other realms in the hell realm where it's you're experiencing violence being done to you. Okay. All right. So that's the hell realm. That's the lowest. That is the realm where the most intense suffering is experienced. Less intense suffering is that of the pretas, or what we translate as the hungry ghosts. Above that, less suffering than that are the animal realms, and above that, the human realm. Above the human realm, within the desire realm, this is still the desire realm. Above that are the gods. Basically, any being above a human being is called a god. And there are different levels of gods. The lowest category of gods are called demigods. These are driven by jealousy. They're not jealous of us, believe me. They're jealous of the gods above them that they can see. It's almost like imagine an animal jealous of a human being because of what the human has and they don't have, and they're living in the same place, but they don't have what the humans have. And there are a lot of legends about why the jealousy exists. The jealousy is from the demigods up. It's the gods above the demigods are not jealous of them, of course. Here's the story. I have no idea what that means. You can take it to mean some sort of metaphysical thing. I can give you a metaphysical interpretation of what it could mean, but it's just my metaphysical interpretation. Yours could be different. Okay, so in the ground where the demigods live, there is this tree that grows very tall, and it pierces the realm above it. The fruits of that tree doesn't fall to where the demigods dwell. It falls in the realm above them. Even though the root of the tree is in their place, the fruit is enjoyed by the beings above. Okay. So that is the suffering, the main suffering that the demigods experience of extreme jealousy. And of course, every once in a while, they have to go to war because they're jealous, and they always get beaten. They always get beaten by the beings above them, but they're driven to fight them, but they can't win. That's their suffering. And the last realm of the desire realm, or the highest, what you call the highest part, that is the part that is with the least suffering, is a level of God called desire realm gods. Okay. An example is what's his name? Mm. And one of the forms of the what's his name? Well, that tells you how important they are. I'm remembering it so well. Because uh, remembering the name is not really going to help you. It's just a filler that you need, on your spiritual path. You need fillers, All right, so uh, yeah, yes, there's the heaven called the heaven of the 33. Okay, the heaven of the 33. It's the higher heaven, and it's called 33 because there's always 33. What you call that? It's like a government that is composed of 33 administrators, the 33 diplomats. What do you call those things? 33 advisors. Okay, it's like uh, a board of directors, and always fill and it only has 33 seats. And there's, of course, there's a chairman. The chairman is the leader of those heaven, the leader of the gods of the 33. Okay. Oh, for some reason, the name keeps skipping me. That's used to be the name I always remembered. For some reason, tonight it's not coming. Okay. Now we've described the we've described the desire realm. Okay. This is the desire. That means these are experiences that are immediately available to us. Immediately available doesn't mean necessarily that we are in danger. Well, I can say that. Yeah, these are experiences that are very close to us. We do in our life aspire not to have more suffering. We do aspire in our lives to have more joy. We are driven by that. Okay. And when we witness someone that seems to have more joy than us, we aspire for their status. Like if you believe being a multi-billionaire is much more enjoyable than if you're not a multi-billionaire, then you aspire to be a multi-billionaire. You, in a sense, you worship billionaires. You make them an object of refuge. If a multi-billionaire were to come to your life, you will try to have closeness to them, and you will try to see if they can give you a spot, give you a chance. Mm? And you would ask them for advice. How do I become like you? And I'm making this example because the spiritual path doesn't use anything foreign to what you're already using, what you're already familiar with. If you find your spiritual aspiration, if you find that your journey on the spiritual path is lacking energy, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you truly aspire to? We may, on the surface of it, speak with derision. I always wanted to say that word in a sentence. We speak with derision about people who supposedly have as far as social status is concerned, wealth is concerned, they have more than us, or we speak in derision about people we consider to be below us. And yet, there is a part of us that may aspire to them. We are lying to ourselves when we say we don't want it, but deep within us, that's what we want. And we disguise what we want as, oh, we want to be spiritual. We want this thing. And we try to direct our energy of desire towards helping us fulfill that. And we find that the energy of desire is lacking when we put it in that direction. but we do find a lot of energy when we want to deride deride the one that we think, oh, those people are bad. I don't ever want to be like that. But deep inside, that's what we want. We may be a demigod. We may see that why don't I have, why am I not experiencing the fruit that they are experiencing? And we may be struggling with within ourselves. We may be struggling in our minds with them, desiring what they have. So take the first level of when you're reading about the realms of existence, is to, yes, apply them psychologically and try to see, remember, these are realities. These are actual experiences. So where am I? Am I somewhat animalistic, that I'm only worried about feeding myself and reproducing, and that's it? But I disguise it in so many different ways. Or do I see that someone is experiencing a fruit that I think I should be experiencing, and I'm having fights with that person within my own psyche? So energy is being spent with unconsciously, and we find ourselves depleted when we want the energy to do something consciously, deliberately. So when that's usually a sign that it's not that we do not have energy, but rather our energy is being used somewhere else, that we do not have agency. Energy is being used in an area where we don't feel we have conscious awareness of. Okay. And we look at our society. I want to mention this. This is something that Robert Thurman brought up, which I thought was a very beautiful comparison. And of course, not that it is absolutely true, but it speaks a little bit of a truth. I have to make that disclaimer before I proceed, because I know some of you are going to say, raise your hand and protest. Okay, here it is. What edifices in our modern time take most of our energy, take most of our resources? Go to Wall Street. You will see whole streets, whole blocks barricaded with, so it is possible to create physical protections for buildings. But the building we must see it as having, we must place value in those buildings. And the buildings, of course, are housing something that is valuable for us. Okay. So in most of our modern Western, not Western that necessarily, but our modern cultures and societies that you encounter, the buildings that are where most resources are spent on with a lot of care, are buildings that nurture greed. Okay. And Robert Thurman was making a comparison between that with old Tibet. I'm not saying it's absolutely true. I mean, imagine if it was true. Okay. In comparison to old Tibet, the buildings that used the most resources, that a lot of care was given into them to protect them, to make sure that they stay, were those dedicated to education, were those dedicated to spiritual growth, because that was what was important for those cultures and societies. Okay. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is just like as a whole, as a culture, most of our resources are spent to take care of what we really honor, what we really hold to be valuable. Internally, our resources are also being directed, and they will be directed to what we sincerely feel is valuable. Okay. Not on the surface, but deep within us. If you find yourself lacking energy when someone tells you to do something that you could call mundane, and yet you find yourself having a lot of energy to do something that you yourself call meaningful and spiritual, then in a certain way, you can say that you are directing your resources to what you, you on the surface and deep within, you're in alignment. But when you find yourself lacking energy, then it's not a matter of being good or being bad. It's just that we were conditioned, because all these are conditionings, okay? By saying conditioning means these are things that can change. Okay? These are always changing things, changeable things. We, for whatever reason, we were in an environment where we were conditioned to give a lot of value to certain things, whether we consciously ourselves give value to those things. Okay? And every one of us growing up in the culture, in a society where value is given, a lot of value is given to greed, we have some of that conditioning within us. Don't lie to yourself. We were raised in these environments. They nurtured us. They helped form us. Of course, we take on some of the things that they told us was to value. So look into yourself to say, to what degree are you conditioned by that, and are you okay with it? And if you're not okay with it, then begin to direct your resources towards what you really want your resources to go to, because the resources are not lacking. They're just being directed or misdirected. Okay. So that's the desire realm, and above everything else, they don't have. They just call them gods. Gods of the form realm is higher, and gods of the formless realm. The form realm are called form realm because they do have appearances, but they're made of very refined material, very refined matter. Basically, they're a bunch of gorgeous beings. Every single one of them is gorgeous. Every single one of them. There's a story of there was I think it's a family member of the Buddha who felt compelled. Oh my God, uh, my uncle had to be a Buddha. Now I gotta be a spiritual too. So I'm gonna be spiritual. And he was engaged to this extremely beautiful what person. And reluctantly he left, and my uncle's a Buddha. I gotta be a Buddha. I gotta be spiritual. So he became ordained, but he was miserable. So somebody confronted him. He said, "Man, why are you so miserable? Everybody around you is happy, but you're always so miserable." And he said, "Well, I'm thinking about the real happiness that I left behind, so I can join you guys. And all I do is go around begging for food, wearing only one set of clothes. I gotta walk to everywhere I need to go. Woke up early in the morning. I could have been sitting and lounging somewhere, eating the best food. And I gotta eat leftovers. Uh, so as a way of helping this, I forgot his name, as a way of helping him become detached from what he thought was the most beautiful person, the most beautiful woman ever in the entire in existence. He was they took him on a trip to the form realm, and he like his jaw dropped when he saw. Oh my goodness, that's how beautiful people are. And somebody told him, oh, the one that you're seeing right now, they're considered ugly in that realm. You say, really? Compared to them, the person I was engaged with, I thought was the most beautiful person. It's like it's like a rat. And and he said, "What can I do to be born here?" So you got to meditate. I guess we became the best meditator. And the story is not over yet. The reason I'm laughing is because the punchline is very is coming up. So this guy who was uh very sad, very uh uh always in a bad mood, very is now the most diligent meditator ever, the most diligent practitioner ever. And people are asking, what happened to him? How come he's and then the story was related to them. And then guess what? They said, oh, so the Buddha is a pimp. The Buddha is taking disciples, promising them beautiful maidens in heaven. And of course, uh, the Buddha would not have that. Yeah, to straighten this out. And of course, help them develop the proper attitude for the spiritual path, where it wasn't any longer just engaging in it for something that is perishable. Because the form realm, even though they have very long lives, even though they have very beautiful lives, uh, they don't have some of the instincts that we have. They don't have some of the instinct that creates suffering for us. It just doesn't come to their mind. Okay. And they don't have, there's one suffering that the gods do not have to different degrees. The higher the god, and by God, they means, just a being higher who lives in higher than human beings. Okay. Who have more enjoyment, less suffering than human beings. And of course, that means they have more power to be able to do what they want. One of the things that they have is something that you will encounter on your path. It is, they do not have, in generally speaking, of course, it depends on the degree, right? They don't have desire for something that they cannot have. And I think that's one of the most, I think that's one of the aspects of being a human being that is the most troublesome, that is, that makes us suffer the most. In our own being, we are aspiring for something that we cannot fulfill, but we aspire for it anyway. And we witness this in different kinds of addictions, that there's something that we want, but the thing cannot give it to us, but we still want it anyway. Okay. So those beings do not have those kinds of thoughts come up in their minds. Maybe once in a while they come up with something like that comes to them, but for the most part, they don't. Up to a certain degree where they cannot they cannot have a wish for something that is not within their capacity to fulfill. So if one of those higher beings were to see you, they cannot want to help you if they cannot really help you. It's impossible for them to want something that they cannot see themselves fulfilled. Okay, so that's the characteristics of the form realm. So the form realms is divided into, of course, all these are divided. I'm not going to go into what they're divided into, but just know that they're divided. They're divided into higher. So the form realm is divided into four, and the formless realm is also divided into four. The formless realm is a realm of pure consciousness. There's no form whatsoever. Beings exist there as pure consciousness, and as pure consciousness, they experience certain kinds of consciousnesses for very long periods of time, millions of years, so they say. Okay, like and they are space, immeasurable space. Like their consciousness, they feel all of space. Their consciousness they're aware that the consciousness fills all of space. There is where they are aware of no appearances whatsoever, or nothingness, it's called. So space, nothingness, consciousness. They're just aware of consciousness, not aware of anything else. And there's one called neither consciousness or no non-consciousness. Now, it is said that those formless realms are none of these last. None of these last. Eventually, they are lost. Eventually, those in the formless realm, it might take them millions of years, but eventually they fall. And the reason that they fall, that is generally speaking, okay? Generally speaking, they exhaust whatever it is that propelled them to be there. And while they're there, they're not, generally speaking, they're not creating condition to further that experience. And if you find that, oh, that doesn't make sense, okay, now you're a human being. Further your life as a human being. I dare you. Further your life as a human being. When you reach 300, say, I think I'll stay a human being a bit longer. I'll take another 300 years. I dare you to do that. Right? There's a point where whatever propelled you to have the life that you have will be exhausted, and then another way of existing will come into play. And the other way of existing that will come into play will be determined by what do you have, what potentials have you created, or what kind of existence that you've created. Where have your instincts driven you? Where have you directed your instincts to? Where have you habituated your mind to dwell on? What have you habituated yourself to dwell on, your being to dwell on? Okay, that will play a big part in determining your next existence. All right. So, as what makes human beings special, and again, generally speaking, okay? Generally speaking, what makes human beings special is that in the life of a human being, you can make yourself experience all these different ways of existing. You can have extremely hellish experiences, and you can have extremely blissful experiences. This is one of the unique qualities of being a human being. You can actually taste what it's like to be any of those beings. And because of that, the spiritual aspiration is, generally speaking, it's easier to be very strong within human beings. And that it doesn't mean that every being other than human beings are not interested in spirituality. Just like it's not every single human being on the planet is interested in spirituality, really interested in spirituality. So just in the same way, uh, other beings, you can be spiritual in the other realms and make use of those resources to further your progress on the path. Now, when we are being encouraged not to waste our human life by waiting to be born into better states of being so that we can seriously practice spirituality, it is not to say that spirituality can only be practiced within a human realm. And the reason for saying that is don't let your mind disparage those other realms, like that person I mentioned who really aspires to those things, but outwardly derides them, speaks bad about them, but in that person's heart, that's what they want. And the way that these are described, what do you really call a worthy aim to direct your life force towards? Are you simply looking for fame, to be recognized, to be adored, like to be uh, the leader of the heaven of the 33, for example? Okay, that would be like that. Or are you so fed up with the material world that in a way you believe that if you had if you didn't have to deal with materiality, you'll be more at ease. There's an aspiration for just spaciousness. There's an aspiration for just nothing. There's an aspiration to dwell in your mind. There's an aspiration to not be thinking at all, not to even be aware of your thoughts. Okay. Here is the thing. I can't say that I should ask you to believe that these realms are actual realms, because I've not had any experiences that validates them for me. I did see a ghost once, but I don't know what realm that belongs to. Anyway, but if we simply extrapolate from our immediate experience, just like we can extrapolate, there are people who are happier than me, and there are people happier than them, and there are people happier than them even, and there are people who are suffering more than me, and there are people who are suffering more than them. So we can extrapolate this and accept this as being real. And we do see there are people who are suffering more than us. And we do see that there are people who are happier than us. So why not continue allowing this extrapolation to take place, where it continues, where it's not just there are people happier than you around you, but there are people, there's an entire realm of people who are much happier than you. There are worlds where people are much happier than you. Just like right here on this planet, there are countries where the majority of the people are suffering much more than the majority of the people who are suffering or in another country. And there are people in one country where the people there, generally, more of them are happier than the majority of the people in some other country, right? So these are things that we are able to directly experience. And this is just one planet, just one world. And right now, we've been able to look, even though we haven't directly seen any evidence of other beings yet, but we see possibilities of other beings. There are more stars, not more stars, there are more universes, more, what do you call that, clusters of worlds. There are more clusters of worlds than there are grains of sands in all the oceans. Like Milky Way is just a tiny little speck in a vaster universe, and the Milky Way is, for us, is already vast. So physically, we can say there are different worlds, just like there are people who live in extreme heat. There are people who live in extreme cold. There are people who live in the various conditions, and they live there. They've been living there for generations and generations. So it is possible. And the thing to remember with all this is that all these vastness, there's a very intricate interconnectedness. And I'll use Thich Nhat Hanh's word instead. There's an interbeing at play. We don't know to what degree our speck existence has with the vast cosmos. We don't know, but it doesn't mean that we don't have that we're not we don't have any effect whatsoever. We don't have any influence whatsoever. Okay. And we sort of understand, we sort of accept that there's just a massive amount of things that we just don't know. In our world alone, in this planet alone, we have not fully explored every possible kinds of way beings can be. Perhaps we may develop the instrument where one day, look into the cement, you can see the hell realm. Look at this instrument, you can see the Krita realm. You can see, but the point isn't that do they actually exist or not, but these are if you take the infinite ways that existence can be expressed, and let's just say just some Buddhist imagination or some people's imagination, sort of speculating as to what are the different ways that we can that existence can be expressed, can be experienced, and they're extrapolating from what they've seen. But these things are always immediately, because of our interbeing, because of our interconnectedness, these things are always just available as experiences, as ways of experiences for us. And if we do not consciously take control, and I don't want to use the word control in that unhealthy way that we talk about control, but in a very healthy way, if we don't consciously participate in our evolution, if we don't consciously participate in this flux, in this ever-changing thing, flow of life that is taking place, we've already set potentials that we're not aware of. I'm not talking about necessarily past lives, I'm talking about in this life itself, where we will be forced to experience existence, perhaps not in a way that we really want to experience it. What determines experiencing more suffering is how ignorant we wish to be of our true nature. And what determines that we experience more joy is how much do we want to accept about our true nature. all these perhaps as just giving us a taste. Probably there are even more realms if we consider take into account different dimensions. By different dimensions, I mean in terms of physics, where we live in a three-dimensional world, and if there is a fourth dimension, we with the tools that we have, with the capacity that we have inherited with this way of living, there's no way for us to fathom, to directly experience what fourth dimensional being would be like with our present tools. But with our minds, it is possible for us to be able to have that taste. And it is possible with our mind to be able to project ourselves into other kinds of existences. Do not aspire. And the main reason that these different ways of these different realms are presented is not so much to convince you whether they exist or not, so that you can get on an adventure boat and then try to explore them so you can write a nice book about them, but rather to let you know about the vast possibilities in which we can experience existence. And how we experience existence is really determined by the decisions that we make from the convictions that we have deep within our hearts. The decision that we make coming from the deep convictions within our hearts. And all these things are changeable. If your convictions are leading you into experiences that you do not want, you can change those convictions. Their nature is changeable. All right. And the very last thing to say is it's all a play. It's all a play of the fundamental nature, which is itself always spacious, always luminous, always blissful. All these are but expressions of that. Life is an expression of that. Death is an expression of that. Being human is an expression of that. Being an animal is an expression of that. The closer you are to seeing it, the greater the joy of experiencing existence will be. All right. That's it. I don't know if I said anything that will make you ask questions, but if you have questions, please ask. And I have to ask you some questions myself. No questions? It's kind of late. Maybe that's why I just want to go to sleep.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
So, do these realms, the various realms, do we just organically rotate to around them, or is it something that we consciously or unconsciously gravitate to one realm or another?
Unconsciously. Even as human beings, the experiences that we gravitate towards is not always driven by conscious decisions. They're usually driven by unconscious decisions. By unconscious decisions, I mean what we are really convinced being real. That drives us. If I am convinced that in a very materialistic way, if I'm convinced I can be the next who's the richest person now in the world? Jeff Bezos? Or was that passe? Was that, oh, that's 2000.
Elon.
Who? Elon Musk. Okay. If you are already convinced, there's no way I can be anything like Elon Musk. And that's a big conviction of yours. That will drive you, no matter what you do. Even when you're just about to become the next Elon Musk, that conviction will make you destroyed. But if you're deep within you convinced that it's possible for you, then you will find yourself getting all the resources you need to make that, because that is your deep conviction, your deep, what you might call your deep truth.
So are you like magnetically drawing that energy to you?
Yeah, you are. So, so that's a very good point. What you find being drawn towards you, you are drawing them towards you. There's something within you that acting as a magnet for them, whatever it may be. Like if you constantly find yourself in a particular kind of environment, there's something within you that is drawing you towards that environment, or creating that environment for you.
Does that work the same with the type of people that gravitate to you too?
Yeah. And by type of people, you could say what you draw out of people. And I have to say it that way because in my own personal experience, I can say in this life, I've witnessed where someone is convinced these people are this way. Whenever they encounter those people, the people behave a certain way. So they bring others to validate that those people are that way. And then when they bring others in, the others say, don't have that experience. So it's not that those people are not behaving that way towards you, is that's what you draw from them.
So basically, your focus is your reality.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Okay.
But your focus, just to not be too new agey, it's not that, okay, now I'm going to focus, I'm Elon Musk, and then you become Elon Musk. We're talking about real conviction. I'm Elon Musk, but in my mind I'm saying, I'm not Elon Musk, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm Elon Musk, I'm not Elon Musk. But this is the one that's more of a truth for me. That's where the focus is. So we have to discover what is our focus. What is really our focus? I'm on the spiritual path. What is really the focus of me being on the spiritual path? Is it because I want to be liked and I'm taking this as a way to be liked? Or do I want to be famous? I want to be well known, so I'm doing this so I can be famous. And that's what really driving me. That's what really making me stay here. And this may not be something that we are consciously aware of. That's the thing. So when we meditate and we just allow whatever is within us to come up, and when they come up by being by having the light of awareness shine on them, if they are dark, then the light will disperse them. If they are light, then they will give you more energy. But we need to bring them to the light of consciousness. That is, allow yourself to have the experiences that naturally come up in meditation. Don't seek them. They will come up anyway. And when they come up, and they will be naturally processed by the light of consciousness. All right. My question to you, how much of this do you believe to be not worthy of being knowledge that is practical? The idea of the realms of existence. Remember, I asked you what part of you is listening, and in what way do you find yourself, to what degree you can accept them, and how you could accept them, and if you do not accept them, why are you not accepting them? I guess that would be homework because it is definitely late. We'll continue perhaps in emails or some other, when we meet again, if a question comes, you can ask. Okay. All right. All right, let's get ready to end this session. Thank you very much for staying so late. The realms of existence. If you allow yourself, you can have these, or you can experience these realms in your meditations. Okay, that's it. All right. All right. Bring attention to your intention to enter meditation. Allow all the different dimensions of you to respond. Feel the physical body responding, allow it. Feel the energy body responding, allow it. Feel the emotional, the intellectual, all the different dimensions of you responding to the call to enter meditation. And remember your experience of being in meditation. And by the mere recalling of the experience, you begin to taste it again. And as you taste it, you stay with it, take a nice deep breath and release. And as you release, allow yourself to go deeper into that very stage, deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into clarity, radiance, deeper into collected attention. Feel all of us sitting in a circle, wherever you are. Feel all of us sitting in a circle, wherever you are. And have a sense of all of us being one entity, one body, just having different parts. Like our body has different parts, but it's still me. So this circle of different appearing bodies is actually me. And with that instinct to take care of me, we feel that same instinct for each other. And because of that, that has been built up, a bright light appears in the center of our circle. And the stronger we feel that sense of me-ness being all of us, that circle begins to expand, becoming brighter. And as it expands, it absorbs unto itself that sense of me-ness until we disappear into that circle of light, that bright light. And it continues to expand, absorbing into itself, absorbing into that sense of this is me, our entire neighborhood, our entire world, all the rivers, the oceans, the different animals, the different trees, the sky, every experience, we feel the same instinct to protect, to nurture. And we're going to do something slightly different. So in that light, that pure light, see the light sort of merging with space, merging with space, making space itself glowing. It's not that light is filling space, but rather space itself is becoming luminous, as though space was a substance that is becoming luminous. And eventually, is just luminous space. And this luminous space now begins to dissolve into itself, where it is not anything yet, but the possibility to be anything. It dissolves into just pure potential. And in that pure potential, where nothing is yet, when you think of all those things, all those habits, all those things that you have that you need to get rid of, let them dissolve into the space of pure potential. The fear you are struggling with, let it dissolve in just pure potential. The sense of lacking you are experiencing, let it dissolve into just pure potential. And within that, the only thing you're going to allow to form is to have a life with meaning, a life connected to potential. And what other resources you need in that life. Then the pure potential to be anything becomes luminous space. Luminous space becomes the ball of light. And it becomes the appearance of the world and the ball of light shrinking, and different appearances begin to take place: trees, sky, mountains. And then here we are again, the different bodies appearing with a ball of light in the center. And feel that right now you have access to whatever resources you need. And know that if you, whatever you do that sincerely helps you, automatically helps everyone. Whatever you do that sincerely helps others, automatically helps you. Just stay sincere and allow yourself to be an instrument of spontaneous compassion. And with that, that light that is in the center of our circle, divided, and a beam of it enters into each one of our hearts. And we are filled with the conviction: when I sincerely help myself, I help all. When I sincerely help all, I help myself. And make a dedication, feel the merit, energy of this gathering, and direct it towards fulfilling whatever sincere concerns that you have. And with that, let's come out, feel the space of being in meditation, the calm, the pleasantness, rejoice. Take a nice deep breath. Release And as you release, deliberately reconnect with your immediate surroundings through the sense of touch. Feel the temperature, feel the feel of the clothing, the seat, hear the different sounds. Let your eyes take in light. Deliberately notice colors, shapes, lights, shadows. Thank you.